What is the biggest thing you've noticed since living here? Like
optimism, and it sounds so cheesy, but hope.
Yeah.
Look, if you go walk on the streets here and Germany, you ask a German on the street, how's life now compared to 10 years ago? They tell you, oh, it was so much better 10 years ago. Stuff was cheaper. My work was more fun and government was better or whatever. If you do that here, you get the opposite response. And that's the first thing I noticed coming here, is that whereas in many countries around the world, people will feel like things are going downhill. People are just complaining all the time. And I can't blame them because things are looking bad. Here, people feel like things are going upward. People are excited. People are proud to talk about their country. People are proud to welcome tourists, to welcome companies, to welcome expats and show them, look, this is my country. Like, we have pupusas, we have surf, we have volcanoes, and they talk about their government. They're proud to talk about their government. That's so new to me. Like, I'm not used to that. And that's amazing. I love that. I love the optimism. And if I am able to choose, if I'm able to say, look, I can live somewhere where I'm looking at the authorities and I'm going like, dude, did you like leave your brain somewhere this morning? Like, what the hell are you doing? Or I go somewhere where I see, oh, there's an actual leader in office who uses common sense, who approaches things.
A leader that uses common sense? I'm sorry, I'm from America. We don't have that.
That is so weird that the media has to paint it as, well, that's probably a bad guy because that doesn't happen. Like, there must be something there.
Yeah, the base case for everybody's narrative is how to deal with depression and loss everywhere in the world. Except the base case here is, how do you deal with all this success? How do you deal with all this hope? How do you deal with all this optimism? That's a quality problem to have. And that's what it's like here. I mean, people are genuinely like liberated. Mm-hmm. They've been liberated after 40 years of excruciatingly horrible pain and misery on so many of the population. And to come out of it on the other end, to find themselves really the bastion of freedom, economic freedom and hope. The new Statue of Liberty is a volcano in El Salvador. This is the new shining city on a hill. And people are just filled with gratitude. I mean, they're just like, okay, I'm digging this vibe. We went in front of the palace to hear the president's acceptance speech when he won, and it was jam-packed, but everybody was completely chilled. Like, nobody was acting out, nobody was running around crazy, nobody was acting like an idiot. Everyone was chilled. It was close, but it was like everyone was just grooving and vibing. I know that if that was a city in the United States, it would just get out of hand. There would be a riot. They would go crazy. There would be just some really unacceptable stuff going on. And here it was really like a very kind of relaxed atmosphere. And it added to the overall good well-being of the good vibes of the event.
Yeah, and I've really felt that. And so, Lina, as somebody who you've traveled a lot now as a Bitcoiner, right? What is the overall attitude? And I know, like you say, a Bitcoiner in Turkey is going to have a different view than Germany or El Salvador. But what is if there is one, like a through line or an overall? I know Bitcoiners are all different types of people from which is one of the power and strength of it. But also, do you find any sort of through line with all of them? Like, you say hope is the prevailing thing down here in El Salvador, which I totally agree too. I was like, wow, I've been to all these countries. I went to 6 different countries last October, a little over a year ago of 22 on a tour. And it was cool. I got to see some countries that were nice, but I did not feel the hope that I feel here. So what do you feel in terms of traveling and meeting all of these Bitcoiners and interacting with them, since so many of them love this Little HODLer cartoon? What do you notice that, if any, of the consistencies with Bitcoiners?
I think that depends on how far into their journey people are as Bitcoiners. So, because it takes some time, and then suddenly you start thinking about a lot of things that maybe aren't even directly related to Bitcoin. So, like the easiest one would be questioning the headlines, right? Because you see the way that a lot of media covers Bitcoin. And you're like, well, hold on, you didn't research that properly, or hold on, like that's the best case. The worst case is you actually have an agenda. Then you start questioning the other things that may be reported, and you start wondering, okay, like who can I actually believe here? And I might have to do some more research. So I see that in a lot of people that are further along in that journey. And in general, and again, I'm talking people who are like Bitcoiners, like they've been around and maybe they've been through a cycle or something, right? They have a sort of inner peace. They look at that chaos that is going on everywhere around the world, and they're like, yeah, it's pretty bad, but at least there's one thing that, you know, I know is gonna pull through, like one thing, and then I can save my money in there. It's not even, it goes from investing to saving. Right, so it becomes this kind of tranquility that you have, and that I see regardless of, you know, where I go. But on a greater scale, it's not easy to get to that point, right? It takes time, and it's very hard to even go through a Bitcoin cycle because the bear markets are really painful. So you'll have different, in different places, priorities are different. So let's say you look at Turkey. Turkey is a country with super high inflation. Because your money loses value so quickly, people try to make money very quickly. So for a lot of them, Bitcoin is like too slow. Not too slow in terms of transactions, too slow in terms of going up. And they will look for some coins that they can trade, that they can pump and dump or whatever. And again, I blame the people who do that. I don't blame the people who fall for it, because if you are in a situation where the money in your bank account is just fading away.
Yeah.
I remember when I first went to Turkey, it was the exchange rate between dollar and lira was $1 to 9.3 lira. And a month later, it was 15.
Oh,
Yeah. So if that is what you're looking at, then you feel like you need, oh my God, I need to, like, you start panicking, right? It's harder. That's what I mean when I say people have different accesses and different ways they view Bitcoin. So whereas, for example, in Germany, people are more like, yeah, well, maybe I would buy a house, but oh, it's so expensive. So maybe I put some money here and forget about it for 10 years. It's a completely different approach. But once you have that baseline understanding, then a lot of views are the same. So I can travel to Malaysia, or I can travel to Taiwan, or I can come here, or I can go to Los Angeles. And if I see the Bitcoiners there, we immediately have a baseline understanding, and we can talk about a lot of things that we know. We don't need to even explain those to each other, right? So that is something that you can see anywhere with Bitcoiners.